Hey everyone, it's John Orlando from the PVD Cast, and I wanted to take a few moments of your time to let you know where you can find the PVD Cast. The online home of yours truly, PVDcast.com, is a great place to go, but it's also available through all the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, etc. There's also live broadcasts of the PVD Cast every single week. Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern through the Facebook page of the PVD Cast, and Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. through the Scene Snobs Facebook page. And no matter how you listen, please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. And with that, I will chat at each and every one of you later.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Scene Snobs Network. But I'm not here to talk to you about the Scene Snobs. I'm here to talk to you about Max and Jason, Three Geeks Podcast. You will probably tune into the Three Geeks Podcast and be like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, there's obviously more than 3. There's like 89 million of us. We started with 3. We're like gremlins. We just keep multiplying.
Yeah, they fed us at midnight. They poured some water on us. And now it's like 78 geeks. But you can be a geek too.
If you like comedy, which we sometimes do, if you like hearing about movies, TV shows, you like hearing hot takes from Max and John, you like hearing somebody who loves most things, but when I get mad about a show, it's pretty entertaining, I gotta say. But no, we're the Three Geeks Podcast. We're just a group of friends that don't talk to each other through the week so we can have natural conversations on Sunday.
Yep.
We're like actually probably the worst group of friends because we don't ever talk to each other outside of doing podcasts. I mean, except for you and I, but that's because we're roommates. But, like Three Geeks Podcast. Tune in, check us out.
And have fun.
Yes.
Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. And recycle your droids.
What's going on, everybody? It's Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and I'm here to talk to you about the scenesnobs.com. It is an awesome channel of podcasts, live pre-recorded shows each week that bring variety and just a lot of fun and entertainment to everybody. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast. We have shows BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, Sports Snobs Podcast, PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, the Three Geeks Podcast, The Fandom Effect, and of course we have probably the only Matlock-based podcast, Matt Talk. We have this and so much more. We have review shows, we have interview shows, and we have a marriage podcast called The Marriage Like That. Go check it out. Head over to thescenesnobs.com for a full schedule, all the links to everything and more. And hopefully you'll hit like, hit subscribe, and follow us because we always have new stuff coming up. All right, everybody. It was great talking to you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, everybody. It's CJ Graham, Jason Voorhees. That's right. Friday the 13th, Part 6. And you're listening to the scenesnobs.com.
They pushed me out and maced me.
Here is Sub-Zero. Now, Plane Zero.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
I realized I had a little more time, so I was like, I'll play some more clips.
You need to put that on the other side because he's looking this way. I think it looks weird that
he's just looking off the screen.
Doesn't look off the screen, yeah.
Well, welcome to. All right, I got to make that big. That's got to go big right now. Go big or go home. Here we go. There we go.
Stop it, Fred.
Well, welcome to the show. It's the Podchatters. I don't know. I came up with the name last minute. I thought, hey, who has a name called the Podchatters? Probably nobody. So let's do this. I am Mick Manhattan, host of the Scene Snobs podcast. I am joined by some very awesome people today. Whoop, there's somebody in the waiting room. Jermell, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. I'll start with you. Jermell is the host of the SmartDumb podcast. And we're going to talk about everybody's show in just a few seconds. But we have Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, here. We have Mike Courtney from the Showboys podcast, Mr. Fred Carroll from the Within the Head of Fred podcast. I knew I was going to mess that up, as I always do. And we, of course, have, last but certainly not least, my good buddy, Mr. Jeff Dwoskin, host of the Live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin podcast show. Damn it, I knew it.
It's Dwoskin, but that's okay. We're good.
Listen, I can't remember all of these titles and your last name, buddy.
You literally let in with my good friend. and then couldn't say my name.
You should understand right now that you've been on BTV and you met Gerard before. Of course, Gerard I've been saying his name wrong for about like a year now on all of my shows, and he finally told me on the show the other day.
Do you remember how it's pronounced?
No, at all. I'd say DeBardlebon, and he says something else.
That's what I thought it was, and then he said what it actually is, and I was like, "What? How does that come out?" Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love the studio, man. This is why.
Thanks.
Got to get a full live show going.
Yeah, hey, in due time, we're working on it. But this doubles as my little computer room, but also my actual job space. So I have fun on one side of my desk and work on the other. So
I have to work on my background game. I got no background game. I've got every other angle of my office is incredible, except where I actually put my desk 16 years ago, not knowing that I would one day be live streaming.
Oh, we got the Rev Godfather, Chris Lumzer, the host of the Long Coat Mafia podcast. What's going on, everybody?
I'm going on.
Jamel,
fine. Can you hear me just okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy. Jamel, can I?
I'm trying to make the equipment as well.
I'm good.
So.
Cool. All right. Just want to make sure. I think Sasha's having a little trouble, and Jason's going to be here a little late. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring everybody together, I want to talk about our shows, kind of put the word out there a little bit, and like talk about some other stuff in the world of podcasting that should be fun. So let's go around real quick. Everybody kind of explain what their show is, where we can find it when playing and everything. So, Chris, I'll start with you, man. Long Coat Mafia podcast. Where can we find it? Tell us about the show a little bit.
You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, plus a plethora of other places like Spotify and apparently Pandora as well. Our podcast is a kind of a multi-faceted geek podcast, which what I mean by that is that I'll talk about anything relatively geek-wise, whatever anybody considers geek to them, I'll talk about it. Good audio. Even though my core audience is pop culture and that sort of aspect, but I'll talk about anything on my show because I refuse to, in essence, be put in a box, so to speak, and only talk about geek culture and pop culture. So,
I, on the other hand, prefer to stay in that box. Only stick with the geek culture. So, very nice, very cool.
If it pisses a lot of my person company excluded, but if I know what I tend to do, it pisses a lot of my cohorts off because I'm willing to talk to those about sports and whatever. If it's like making wax mannequins, I'll talk about it if it's good audio for 30 minutes. But if it's just that, and that's what seems to piss off a lot of my cohorts, like, hey, I'll talk about that for 30 minutes, if anything. But I have fun, and hey, it's interesting. I have fun, and
when you say you're pissing off your cohorts, who's a cohort?
Anybody that tends to have when I'm usually on some of the Facebook groups, and I say I'm willing to talk about anything that somebody considers geek, they get up in arms. No, you only got to talk about pop culture. You only got to talk about movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, comics, that sort of thing. I'm like, no, geek culture spans sports, puppetry, cooking, knitting, that sort of thing. It's whatever somebody considers geek, and yet they keep telling me, no, pop culture, that's geek. No, I refuse to do that. You know, it's, you know, I want that diversity in regards to my show, and not just topic wise, but people wise too. So, and yeah, it tends to piss off a lot of those that have their podcasts geared towards geek culture in a way.
All right. Well, very cool. All right, everybody, check out the Long Coat Mafia. It's pretty much everywhere. He will piss you off. Get used to it.
Yes, I am a butthead.
So, Jermell, we just met today, man. I'm glad that you're on. I checked out your show earlier. Very cool stuff. But tell us more about the SmartDumb podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad I came across, happened to see the post. So definitely glad to be a part of it. So the SmartDumb podcast is like 2-3 years old at this point. And when I first started, it was really just me, just what did I feel like I wanted to contribute to? What did I feel like I had to say? What was my opinion? So that whole SmartDumb moniker, I'm a relatively intelligent individual, but I can be ignorant, and I embrace it all. And on the for the listening audience and sometimes viewing, what I ended up switching to or evolving to and adapting is I ended up starting to have conversations with POC businesses, entrepreneurs, just small businesses, anybody that could give insight into that realm, just because I was finding there was a lot of people that had a lot of stories to share, their inspirations, their journey, their struggles, and that has ended up becoming, a very good means of also, most important, of not just hearing me talk for 50 minutes and 60 minutes. So having that other guests, having that, having those groups has also been very good. You can find me, I host on Anchor, so you can find me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify. So it's a lot of different places where you find podcasts. You can probably find me. If you can't, then let me know so I can fill out that form.
All right, sounds good, definitely. So I'm going to talk to my good buddy here, Mr. Jeff Dwoskin. I know that's not it. I knew that, and that time I said it wrong on purpose. So there we go.
No, I don't know that there is a right way to say my last name. Actually, it was funny because when I started doing the podcast, I'm very active on Twitter, and so most, that's just reading, right? So a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's funny. I've been saying your last name wrong," and then they would say it to me. And I go, "That's not right." And they're like, "Well, that's what you're saying." And then I went and listened to me saying it. And like when I get excited, I say my name wrong. It's like it's just Dwoskin. But like when I'm doing, I'm like, "Welcome to the Jeff Dwoskin." I add in these weird emphasis because I think I'm being a showman. But I hate Fred. Most of my podcast is sort of the anti-Fred podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's good to be here, and it's good to be on the Scene Snobs Channel, one of the greatest channels ever in the history of channels. And Mick, is it Mick? Am I saying your right name right, Mick? And Mick Miak, it's is the greatest and most supportive person in the world, and lovable, so lovable. My podcast, I've been a comedian for 18 years, and so became a sort of creative outlet when the stages got taken away from all of us. So I talk to a lot of comedians, but I also talk to a lot of, kind of actors and stuff like that. And I love just hearing the stories of where they've done, what they've done, and people they've worked with. My goal is always to try and grab some kind of weird side story. I love like watching Entertainment Tonight, those kind of shows. So like to me, it's me being that person, but in a Comic-Con, because I love going to Comic-Con. You can't see my wall, but my wall is all 8x10 autographs and stuff like that. So to be able to actually have conversations beyond the $30 quick exchange, here's my autograph, please move on, I have to get $30 from someone else moments, then that's great. So that's what I do. I just try and bring some of that fun, and just for Fred's sake, one of the people on my podcast, Hal Sparks. Oh, Fred, I even set you up and you completely. Anyway, Fred blew it. Fred made this funny like little sound thing. That's apparently, I guess I went on his show and I guess I had name dropped a bunch of people, so he edited in an audio clip of making fun of me. And so then he gave it to my wife, and now my wife uses it around the house.
Perfect. Well, that's why I'm going to let Fred go right after you. So, Fred from Within the Head of Fred podcast, how you doing?
Right. What's up, guys? How's everyone? Good?
Doing well.
Good. What do you want to know? You want to know about my podcast?
I do.
So I'm very big in the Jewish community. I interview a lot of Jewish people. And Jeff Dwoskin, which is Jewish. So if you've been in a movie from between the years of 1960 to 1980 and you're Jewish, I will interview you.
And
yes. And so will the 45 other podcasts that come after me. And I also I just got my 10th listener today, and I've been in the business about 3 years.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah,
my wife says hi. My wife says hi.
Oh.
She thanks you for the number 10 pin.
Yeah, tell her to hit me up.
I will say this about Fred and the people that he interviews. I am a Hack fanboy for anybody between 1960 and 1980. So,
yeah, I love. Listen, I'll interview anybody. You could be homeless. You could be famous. I'm going to make it interesting one way or the other. Maybe piss them off, maybe not piss them off. But overall, just my co-host and I, we go on. She's amazing. She's fun. She's probably better than me, but she doesn't have any technical savvy or anything like that. So she really needs me. I've learned, I was more excited when he said knitting. I want to know about the knitting community and the nerd talk or geek talk.
That's the point. I'll have somebody on talking about it.
Knitting. Do you piss off the knitting? I mean, the knitting community. That is really, that is a bitch right there.
You don't want to piss them off. That's a tight knit community.
Well, that's what I need. The Jewish knitting.
Yeah.
No. I take puns. And they go all the way.
I also want to know how come you got Manhattan as your last name when there's 5 boroughs and you're more of like a Long Island, maybe.
Because Bridge and Tunnel was already taken.
Okay.
Mick Bridge and Tunnel, yeah.
So why did you use how come instead of just why?
I don't know. What?
Wow. Stop confusing him.
How come it's grammatically incorrect?
I have no idea, Sasha. You're picking on me now? Fred heads, I love it. So, kind of getting through. I'm going to you next, Sasha. Sasha, tell me about what you do. What's your show?
Well, right now it's brief hiatus, health issues, depression, wonderful, fun stuff. But, new episodes are deadline. Got some scripts put out there. Excited. Been working on a couple books. But new YouTube episodes are coming very soon. So.
Well, I am very excited about that because I know
I dare you.
Oh, Fred?
You have a big thing coming out right now with the Predator series that I'm looking forward to because you cover a lot of movies. Now, Sasha knows a ton about movies that she just hits me up with, and I'm just like, yeah. It's like I had no idea. So I refer to her also, often about like different movies, especially doing research. But let's go. Devin's here. Devin joined in tonight. He's from the Phantom Effect podcast, one half of it. Devin, tell us a little bit more about the Phantom Effect and what you guys are doing there.
First off, Mick, you forgot to say it's the better half of the Phantom Effect podcast. We've gone over this in our meetings, man. I'm Devin McVitie. I'm one half of the Phantom Effect podcast. And to Mick, he already knows it. We are also known as the NWO of podcasting. So with me and my co-host Mark, we like to see the different fandoms that people have out there. It doesn't just come down to like comic books and anime. I mean, there's wrestling and movies and all sorts of different books, and we've talked to directors and movie stars and Jeff Dwoskin a couple times and all sorts of different people. Actually, Jeff, we got your show coming, getting released, I think at the end of the month.
Look for a bump. Look for a bump.
Yeah. I was thinking there was going to be a drop in ratings, to be honest. I told Mark we have to try to figure that out. We're dropping our bonus episode that Tuesday anyway, so it's going to work out. And
I'm putting Jeff right in the sandwich of haters right there.
Did you fall asleep during your interview with Jeff Dwoskin? Because he tends to get boring every once in a while.
I actually went to the store and repainted my bathroom in the middle of it all. You didn't even notice. So
I appreciate it, because when you're a boring hack, it's not easy to get booked, and I do appreciate that. So.
No, we're new to the Scene Snobs area, and we were happy to hear Mick wanted to bring us on, and was able to move us around for our Royal Rumble podcast that we did. That was a lot of fun, something we never did before.
Yeah, it was a great show. You guys put on a great one. I really love that. And I loved how you handled it. So we're happy to have you, man. Thanks for joining the channel. Let's go to I'm gonna leave Jason for last because he's my rival this weekend, so I'm just gonna keep him waiting. So Mike Courtney from the Show Boys, tell us about your show, man.
Sure. My name's Mike. We're a kind of new podcast. We started in September of 2020. And we just kind of talk film, movies, shows, video games, that kind of content, YouTube series or channels, really just kind of from like a fan perspective. You can find us on all the big platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify. We upload our audio to YouTube. And like we kind of talked about a little bit at the beginning, we're going to break into live streaming here soon, hopefully. So hopefully we'll be adding some video to the YouTube too. We just try to have fun with it and talk about the stuff we're currently watching or playing and what we like about it and whatnot. So
sweet. I love it.
Wait, you have a podcast and you're talking about stuff that you're watching?
Yeah. It's crazy, huh? Rivalry.
Seriously, what? I'm out of here, boys.
All right, listen, I feel like that's an idea that's been stolen.
You mean to tell me there's multiple podcasts that are like that?
That's great. Okay, everybody raise their hand if they talk about television shows on your podcast. And we're giving Sasha hand raising that one too. So that's all the time we have to talk about podcasts. So let's move on to the. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. What's up, buddy? Tell us about the Geeks podcast. We love it.
As much as I feel bad for Casey for having to carry Mick on his back this upcoming weekend, I want to say thank you to Mick because I talked to Mick and Jeff now in the last 2 weeks more than I talked to my kids. Like we're in a chat and we just have conversations. But no, the Three Geeks podcast, it's one of the 480 million podcasts out there dedicated to geek culture, and we have conversations. Last week, we talked about favorite fandoms, and Jeff shocked us all with one of the best reveals, I think, ever, which was that he is a super big fan of the Monkees TV show and music group. And that's the kind of conversations we have.
All right.
It's true.
Are you surprised?
I just got to keep that big the whole time.
I think I need to say this for Fred. Yeah, I'm a big Monkees fan. I once met Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith.
All right.
I know Fred keeps like making me look like a fool.
That's great. So exciting.
That was loaded.
You're supposed to do the name drop thing.
I can't believe you have a wife when you say you're a Monkees fan on top of it all. But she doesn't like the Monkees. You said on
doesn't.
numerous shows.
Yeah, she doesn't like them. Yeah. Well, she likes like the one song that everyone likes, but then beyond that, yeah, she's not a big fan.
You mean the song from Shrek? Is that what you mean?
The one that was remade in Shrek, yes.
Yeah.
Have you tried making it your alarm for when she wakes up?
No.
Play it overnight.
No, he wants to stay married.
Oh, okay. You should probably
Jeff is Jewish. There's a much better tax break if you're married. And it's very important in the Jewish community to keep your money and know the laws. And there's Jeff taught me all about Jewish Christmas, which is he taught me the dreidel song. And I think that's what we talked about mostly. He's very, very big on this. So if you need any Jewish people, Jeff could get them for you.
Listen, this is the reason I have comedians on the show.
I mean, Mark's our Jewish half, so I'm not getting any of this stuff.
But you understand, we all have partners here, and it just some of them have to be Jewish.
I get it. I was on J-Date for like a month.
That counts, I think.
You guys.
All right, I'm gonna move on because I see Jeff blushing, and I don't want to keep that going.
I've never seen Jeff this quiet this long.
I was gonna jump in, but I didn't want to give you more Jew culture. I didn't want to bring the show down to. Everyone's like, I didn't want Mick's DMing me. The show's too Jewy. Move on.
Oh, never that. You're always allowed on my show, buddy. So, all right. I want to get into guests real quick and kind of like how you handle them. And, who are some of your favorite guests that you've had?
Jeff East.
Clip it.
Clip it. Podcast will be on tomorrow night with an interview with Jeff East. So,
you guys have an exclusive with Jeff East tomorrow?
We do. Premiering on the Scene Snobs Network.
So do you want to tell everybody who Jeff East is?
No.
No, I was kidding. It was a joke. But no, he will be on the Scene Snobs.
He is on the Scene Snobs tomorrow.
There is an interview tomorrow dropping at 6.
I'm going to go to Sasha first because Sasha has met a lot of fun celebrities. And I'm going to get away from Jeff East for a little bit. Sasha, who's some of your favorite celebrities?
I think, one that's been on the show back when I was on Blog Talk Radio, which was forever ago. We did have Jim Wynorski on, which was awesome. I love Chopping Mall. That made my day. Being with him about things of that nature. And then, which is a local actress as well. Great people to talk to.
Jeff had Kelly Maroney on. I know that, right?
Yeah, from Chopping Mall. So collective, we could slice our episodes together and make it like we talk to the whole cast of Chopping Mall.
That'd be fun. Let's just get them all on now. Let's just invite all of Chopping Mall right on.
Kelly Maroney was great though.
So Mike, how about you, buddy? I know your first guest was probably your best and most favorite guest of all time.
I mean, arguably the most famous of all the guests that are going to be named. A very, very cool guy named Mick Manhattan, actually. But yeah, we're a pretty new podcast, so we haven't had many guests, but Mick was our first, and we hope to, have some more fun people on the show.
More actual talented people.
I'll take what I can get at this point, but
Jermell, who's some of your favorite guests that you've had on?
Yes, so there was it was definitely 2020. I don't remember the month, but I found a black-owned rival to Uber and Lyft. I'm cool with Lyft. I want Uber to die, so I was happy to promote some competition for them. I got a friend of mine who had ran a successful open mic out in Arizona for 10 years, and to kind of talk to him, have a conversation with him on a podcast level, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, none of mine are like celebrities, but a lot of them are highly successful people and people that were under the radar that I think listeners were like, okay, let me check them out. So
hey man, interesting people are interesting people. There's nothing wrong with that. I often would prefer to have interesting people. Celebrities aren't always that.
Right.
I had a comedian on my show one time, and I pronounced his name wrong, and he hasn't let me live it down since. So I just don't say it anymore.
I feel like that's a running theme with you.
Yeah, probably.
Chris, I say names wrong too, Mick.
I'm sorry. This is my little. I don't know how many tips I'll offer. It was like 8 episodes. I didn't say their name. I said, "You say it." So, I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna let you know that before."
I always write it. I always write it down in big letters right in front of me. So because I'm always afraid too that you'll say their character name by accident.
All right.
You know, so that,
I had the director of the new Nick Cage movie, Jiu-Jitsu, on, and he's got a long Greek last name. It's like Dimitri Logophetis.
Oh, yeah.
And I went and I was on, I went and watched interviews with him just to learn how to say his name. And I kept saying it over and over again, and I still said it wrong when I introduced him.
Well, I'm going to guess it doesn't end with fetus.
It's Fitus, I think.
I don't think it's Logophetis.
No, it's I'm not even familiar because I'm not sure. But, no
Say
way.
it again. Say it again, Mick. Try.
It's Laga. No, I can't. I'm gonna say it wrong. I've already started saying it wrong. Logophitis. But I'm saying it wrong. I'm out.
I can relate, Matt. I can relate. I had a guest on my show. His last name is, though spelt differently, is pronounced the same way as a feminine hygiene product, and so I just refer to him only
Dolores.
What?
Dolores.
Dolores. But I just refer to him as by his first name throughout the whole episode, and no matter what, I just refer him by his first name. But
so what is it? Is it what was his first name?
You could say it.
Scott.
Was it Scott?
He runs the Pirate Bay podcast.
Oh, Scott.
Scott Bowlways?
Oh, that's Scott.
Scott,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
Scott. Everybody knows Scott.
Wait, Scott's a pirate?
Oh man! All right, so Jason, I know you're Mr. Celebrity. I want to hear what you got. Who's your favorite?
I have tie, 3-way tie for my favorite.
No, you get to pick one, and it has to be your ultimate favorite of all time.
It's Rebecca Miskin. I love that woman. She's been on our show twice now. She did the web series Night Owl with Jesse Camacho from Lock and Key, and she is absolutely amazing. We stay in touch on a regular basis, and I can't wait for her to blow up big.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair. So that's the one you choose. That's all you get. You're not allowed to talk to anybody else from now on.
I was going to say, what about the other two? I hope they hear this.
It was the Candies, Jen Candy and Chris Candy.
That was fun. Jen Candy. I
gotta know, what Top Gun shirt is that?
Oh, it's just a sign. The symbol.
Yeah.
So Fred, what do you got?
I would have gave mad props if it was the second mission.
I wish.
Fred, who's your favorite that you've had on?
I gotta say, my favorite to date is Murray Schwartz, another Jew. But Murray Schwartz is a friend of mine, and he was the CEO of Merv Griffin Entertainment. And he created Jeopardy, he created Wheel of Fortune. And I just got off the phone with him a little while ago because I'm trying to hook him up with other venues because he wrote an amazing book. But the guy has so many great stories because he's a New Yorker, grew up in New York City, and really made it to the top. I mean, he knows old Hollywood and has lived so many tales. The problem with interviewing him was it's once you ask him one question, he goes on with the story. You know, it's a very long-winded story, and it's hard to, I don't know if you guys ever deal with, I don't know how good any of you are at cutting your guests off and guiding them into a new direction, because it's not easy all the time.
Yeah. I do all right.
I'll be editing sometimes and I'll be like, wow, that was a hard pivot I just made right there.
Interviewing is a skill, though. Being able to talk and converse with people, it's definitely a skill.
So what do you find?
Loud real quick.
This is what happens, you guys, when my co-host doesn't want to join us. He thinks he could talk complete shit all the time, and he just doesn't realize it, that I just make his podcast better.
Turning in quick as a fellow Jew. Tuning in, Mark. As a
turning in.
I think it's a.
He tells me I
rock.
suck, but can't even spell the word tuning.
Right. And lowercase Jew. But come on, Mark.
Jeff Dwoskin is my favorite comedian.
Oh, thank you.
I just made some throwing up lies, man. Come on.
Dwoskin.
I appreciate that. Dwa. It's a Dwa. It's Dwa. Dwa. It's not Dwo. There's no O. When I grew up in Michigan, and there was a local veterinarian named Dworkin, and so he was always on the TV, Dr. Dworkin. Dr. Dworkin, your veterinarian needs Dr. Dworkin. So in school, when people would look at my name, because not many names start with DW, and it kind of has the same run up, they always added an R to my name. So growing up, I was Jeff Dworkin. It got to the point where like a substitute teacher would do that, and then the kids would just all correct the teacher. How does Fred keep changing his image? How do I do that?
You need to have a production studio.
Oh, is that what?
And you can do those things. Yeah. You can go back and forth.
Oh. There's so much I don't know, guys. I just plug in and go. It's raw talent. I'm running on raw talent. I don't know why you realize. I don't care who knows.
I do love that we're full Brady Bunch right now.
We are kind of. Yeah, we are. No,
and it's very modern too, because if they remade the Brady Bunch, Alice would be black,
right?
At this point. And this is how the Brady Bunch would look in 2021.
And there would be two dads, right?
Two dads,
so, right?
Yep.
And you don't want me singing the theme song, first of all. And I was also thinking about Hollywood Squares, and I was whooping.
That's
really this is awesome.
That's it.
See, I think it would be more 2020 the Brady Bunch if the maid was white now. I think it's a shock that the maid was white back then. Given the times, I mean, yeah. But yeah. So,
we need to get a man in that role, right?
Yeah, it could be a guy too. Exactly.
I mean, listen, Fresh Prince had Jeffrey, so we had that role. It's gender swapped already, and it worked. All right, and it was actually
flip it for the guy that Alex was always chasing.
Sam, the butcher.
The butcher.
Sam the butcher.
Yeah.
And this is why we only go to Jeff Dwoskin.
It's even worse. Somehow you managed to say it even worse.
No. We go to
it's like if you were to spell it out, it'd be like DWAH.
No, I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm saying it wrong on purpose. And in fact,
I see.
Fred getting mad at me for saying it wrong on purpose is even better.
Fred, I missed the joke. I missed the joke, Fred.
Yeah. I'm not a comedian, all right? They're not funny. I'm turning Fred off of Jeff and onto me. So that's how it goes.
Oh, yes.
That's how I protect my buddy Jeff.
It seems everybody in my life is trying to turn me off to Jeff for some reason. This is becoming a constant. I don't know what the problem is.
But I need to be turned off to Jeff, but don't turn Jeff off on Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m.
Oh. Nice plug there, buddy.
Nice plug.
Yes. Isn't it sad? I'm going to try and turn my head so I was like, I'm actually talking to you. Yeah. A little public service announcement. Yeah.
What's the most challenging thing you guys have found getting into podcasting?
Finding my voice.
That's right there. I heard it.
I mean, being able to talk. When I first started podcasting, I was socially awkward, so I had a tough time getting into it. Now I could talk to anybody.
Nice. All right.
Mine is consistency.
For me, it was
shout out to everybody. I'm sorry.
Proper representation. Making sure that I'm representing my community, but not in your face about it.
Okay.
That's big. I like that one.
That is good.
Yeah. But yeah, consistency. I'm sorry, I keep jumping.
No. Go ahead, JP. That was me. That was on me.
I appreciate it. Yeah, just those of you who are on a once a week, even once every 2 weeks, like I think this might be the closest year I am to trying to do that. Like by far is like I get sidetracked and then the momentum is gone.
You have to maintain your content. I'm in my third season. I've done 4 years of podcasting, but it's my third season of Within the Head of Fred. And I do three podcast shows a week, 3 separate ones. And if you miss a week, you lose your fan base. You have to figure out your marketing strategy and know where, if you're going to release on Monday, you got to release every Monday. Even if it's a repeat, you could release a repeat of just upload, just give them something. Because the minute those subscribers lose you, you're not getting them back. There's too many other shows out there. First of all, that's a problem. It's too easy to podcast. That's the problem. It's almost too easy for 9 of us to get together and talk live on Facebook. Now everybody thinks they could do it, but it's not the truth because the editing matters. And quality is always going to win over. The quality of the sound is always going to win over your audience. And it's very important.
What's that friend you broke up?
It's been burnout recently, and I'm going to agree with Sasha. Finding a little bit of diversity, because as I stated that I tried to keep those on my show that I bring in as guests to be a little bit as diverse as possible. I did have issues with one group about 2 years ago. I wanted to have them on because to hear their viewpoints and how they did stuff. And me as a show, we were pretty much told no. Oh, then later we were told, by the way, we'll only let you record for 15 minutes. And all the while we were like, you know what, heck with it. We got what we needed for the day. They were up, they started speaking, and they kept saying, hey, you can't hear us. You can't, why are you ignoring us? Why can't you hear us? Why aren't you listening to us? And I turned to my co-host and said, you know what? If they let us record, if they let us interview them, all they had to do was point to us and say, pick up a flyer from them. Anything you're missing now, you're able to get from them. And they have all their links there. And that's why and he kind of agreed with that. It's just, hey, don't be kind of, I want to say an idiot. Don't be a scumbag, work with me. I'm there to work with you in a way. So I like the fact that JP is kind of looking down in the corner at me. I'm thinking he's like looking, my screen's like looking down at me.
Now he's looking at me. I love this feature.
So it's it's that aspect. It's like if I have a bunch of male guests, I don't mind having a bunch of female guests or having someone like Sasha on, or that way it gives a wide spectrum of people on my show. And for me to I don't want to deny people on my show. I think that for me, when I first started out, that was an issue of me saying no, in regards to some guests, because there were some people that would like, I want to be on. Okay, come on. But there are other times that when I did research, it was like, wait a minute, you know what? No, not you. Strictly, it's nothing against you, as whether they were in regards to race, color, creed, or what have you. It's like, no, you're being, in essence, a scumbag. You're being, a not so nice person, or your content's not there. And how am I supposed to promote you if you're not really promoting yourself as well? Or you're claiming that my content's not there every day or every week, yet you're posting over the span of 30, 60 days, once every 2 weeks or once a month, and you're yelling at me for not posting up that particular thing. Or case in point, I had one person like, I want to be on your show. I'm an artist. I'm syndicated. I did the research. He wasn't all that. He was maybe locally syndicated. His Facebook page was barely touched in about 4 months. His Twitter page was barely touched in a year. His Instagram was barely touched in about a year. And I'm like, how am I supposed to direct people to you that everything you have is either incomplete, barely touched, or anything? It's, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to research what you do, how you do it, and why, and yet the information for me to do that isn't there. So
yeah, but to that point, one thing I will say is like perfect example, like Sasha has been on hiatus for a while, but whether you're posting or not, like every time I'll always have Sasha on. She comes on and she brings a lot of fun and great topics and stuff. So you never know what the person's going to offer.
Right.
I don't turn down. I wouldn't turn down opportunity just because of situations like that. You never know who you get.
But see, the funny thing is like, I mean, I could tell you probably a lot of us here has had a lot of the same guests, and we know why. I'm not going to bring up why. But the thing is that, I appreciate it. I'll never look a gift horse in the mouth. That is the biggest thing about me, is that, I love talking to these people, but sometimes me and Mark also, we've been known to go find new people, and get introduced to these new people. Adele Pomeranke was a new person randomly. We reached out and found this person, and she was fantastic. And we're always thinking about, what's our next step? Are we just going to cut ties and just move on to doing stuff ourselves, or what? And, I mean, it always comes down to it, because at the end of the day, me and Mark do this together because we want to just have fun with it. And when it starts becoming a job and it starts becoming a problem where, like, I feel like I'm just burnt out, I don't want to do it anymore. So
it's important to define your show as to who you are and not what somebody else wants to define.
Exactly.
Right. I'm like you. I got into podcasting to, have fun. And, there was one thread, and 99% of it was a great time. And you know what? I'm not somebody who's going to, if somebody else says, no, this person can't be on your podcast because I have a problem, like, I didn't get into podcasting to do that. First of all, we're all kind of fooling ourselves if we think, anything's making that big of a difference that we can't all do our own thing or do similar things and each have our own impact in the world.
Right.
And the problem with dealing with negativity is that eventually that negativity falls on you, and you're just only avoiding it until it gets turned on you. And that's what happened to me. Right. So, and others too, where you accept it to get something and then you get attacked.
All of us.
There's room for everyone. There's not one of us that has an idea that isn't 99% the same as the other person's idea. The difference is Devin's show is Devin's show because it's Devin's. Reverend Godfather there does his show because he's that guy. And, everyone here, JP's his, Mick does his, Fred does his. Fred and I could talk to the same exact person and it would be a completely different interview. I guarantee that. Right. And then, Jason too. So it's like, it's what the individual brings to it. And that's, all the cream can rise to the top. And frankly, that's what I like about this group. This is what I like about Mick. This is what I like about the Scene Snob. It's just about doing it, supporting each other, and getting it done. And all the bullshit gets thrown out the window, and we put that behind us. Because look, none of us need any negativity. If anyone got into podcasting to be drama or be told what to do, then you're in the fucking wrong place. So.
Whoa, Jeff never uses the F word.
I do have to say, I don't know if you guys know this from as a wrestling fan, the fact that he used the cream of the crop, and that's a Muscle Man Randy Savage quote from Detroit when he was in Detroit. So as a fellow Detroiter, I appreciate that, Jeff, massively.
We got so many people.
Thank you, brother.
I think to kind of go off of what Jeff said, though, is sometimes that can be the difficult part, right? Is being able to establish your own identity and not be afraid to be yourself instead of, like you start and you might not have many listeners. So you look around at what other podcasts are doing and like, what can I shape my show, around that because they're successful. And that always doesn't lead to success for yourself because it's not you. So just finding your identity and like being comfortable to roll with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things. Like, I've had issues with other podcasts in the past where it starts turning competitive, and I'm always trying to say, like, I don't want to be competitive. There's no reason to be competitive. I mean, why? Because we're two podcasts, we do different things. It's just more about collaborating. Like, if we collaborate, we're just helping each other out.
Yeah. I was pretty nervous about that when we got started. If it was going to be a competitive thing or if people were going to be willing to help and like work together. And so far, that's probably been one of my favorite things since starting the podcast is getting to meet all of these other people who are doing the same thing and trying to do the same thing, and like how everyone just kind of lends a hand and comes on each other's shows and gives advice, and it's been really cool. It's a cool community.
One person told me in regards to my show, saying that you can't make he used like a diner or a restaurant reference, and he said you can't make people come in and eat. I said I don't want somebody to come in essence, listen. I just want them to find out more about my show. That's it. If they want to listen, they can listen. I just want them to find out more about the show. And that's the only thing you could ask for as a podcaster. It's like, I don't want you to listen. I just want you to at least find out more about us, because whatever you might have as a show name or whatever you do, regardless, that's the aspect. You can't, even though you can't make people listen, just find out more about you or the show or what you do as a podcaster. That says more about, the show than whatever you do. So that's why I'm there. It's like, you can't, it's like, listen, I'll defend anybody that's on my show.
I will respectfully disagree. I want you all to listen to my show. Everybody listen to my show.
Mick, the only reason you haven't been on the Phantom Effect is because we saw your rider on your contract, and we just cannot get all that stuff in there. So
here's the thing about podcasting in general, or any of the shows that we do. It's the only thing that we have that's any different than what anyone else has is the person that's sitting in your own seat, right? When somebody puts out a movie, when Mel Gibson puts out a movie and he goes onto Entertainment Weekly, and then he goes onto this channel 7, and he goes on, and they all have the same exact 3-minute conversation with him, right? It's like it's boring as F, right? It's like, but only the one that maybe goes a different route or does a different thing. So if you're going to stand out, you got to stand out, and the only way you can do that is you and how you ask your questions, and don't delve into the same things and come up with some unique things. Some people use those podcast cards. Some people just do a little more research or a combination of it. There's a million, there's no wrong way to do it as long as your guest has a good time.
Podcast card. That's what I got here.
People do it. Yeah.
I've been officially deemed their hater because of my review. And I've been living it up. It's like, that's a badge of honor for me. I'm their hater. Okay, so what?
It's fine.
I've said before.
I don't use them, but it's like,
Nobody should be using podcast cards. You got to get buttons.
Hey,
not business cards, Mick. Questions.
I got business cards too, but
I have a shoestring budget and can't afford the shoestrings.
You could probably just Google questions.
Make your own.
I'm with Sasha on that one.
So listen, I want to go around because we're kind of wrapping things up. I like this. I like the Podchatters, but somebody else can host it next time. Hopefully, you'll invite me on, but somebody else can host it next time.
It's in my contract that I have to put you on every show.
Is it? Oh, all right. I'm in a good contract.
Rule 1, people, don't sign contracts.
No.
Especially if it's got Mick's name on it.
I make no unsigned contracts there. You guys can leave me high and dry one day, and I'm just like, all right.
All right. So let's go around the room and go. Start with Jason. Jason's got an important live show tomorrow. You want to read?
Go ahead, Jason. Tell us about your live show tomorrow on Scene Snobs.
At 6 p.m., the Jeff East interview that we did back in October is finally going to see the light of day.
Live Jeff East.
Live interview tomorrow at 6 p.m.
live.
Exclusively on the Scene Snobs Network. You will not find it on the 3 Geeks Network. It is just on Scene Snobs, featuring John Orlando and myself.
And expect the Scene Snobs building to be blown up fussily.
Hold on, Mick. I want to talk about one more thing that's coming in the Scene Snobs Network, which is
name drop.
I want to stop talking to everybody and just let Fred tell us how to do this job, because he has all of the goodies in this, that we need.
My wife literally walks me into the room and goes, who was that with that person you talked to from that 80s movie, Kelly Maroney? And then she has it ready to go. And then she goes, Jeff Dwoskin, name drop.
Name drop. Those are so much fun. I do that a lot with a guest that I have on the show. And I don't ask their permission. And it's all in good fun. You just hope the person enjoys it. You know,
Right.
That's all you could hope for.
Yeah.
And if they don't like you, they just don't come back. It's not like it's a fist fight or something.
Right.
Not everybody's going to love you. You know, it's just part of the game.
Listen, Jeff hates it, and he'll be on your show all the time.
I push the envelope with Jeff every now and then, and that's what part of the fun is. But he's been on my show like 3 times, you know, and
way to name drop.
I was about to say 3 times. Yeah,
One more time,
No,
and I
I'm
get
not
health
as
care.
Yeah, free healthcare. That's right.
I am blocking Jason from talking anymore because I don't want him to embarrass himself, because this weekend we have a pretty big rivalry going on.
I have to drop off in a few minutes, but I got another
All right. Well, tell us, Jeff, what's going on? Anything new coming up, or you want us to follow, or where do you want us to go to check you out?
Jeff is fun. Yeah, jeffisfunny.com is the show's website. Live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Check it out. It is considered the greatest pop culture podcast in the history of the world. I'm just reading what I wrote.
Wait, you forgot to say in Spain.
I'm just reading what the Godfather. So, just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was self-proclaimed. jeffisfunny.com. That's it. Oh, and my live show with the Scene Snobs, of course, every Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern, Crossing the Streams. So,
very cool.
Which I think a lot of people here are going to guest on at one point, or if you haven't, feel free to ping me. Thanks, guys.
Fred, how about you, man? What do you got going on coming up?
I have a lot of things coming up that I'm not revealing. I used to reveal my guests ahead of time to people to try to get people pumped and excited, but people don't remember. People just don't. They don't remember what you said, and that's part of the problem. Marketing is a big thing, but you can go to my website. That's FREDDHEADS.com, FredHeads.com. That's where you can find all my shows, the Cinephiles Flashback. Does anybody know the tagline for Cinephiles Flashback? Because I think it's the greatest thing I've ever written.
Do not. What do you got for us?
The tagline for the Cinephiles Flashback is, where it's okay for a movie to touch you when you're young.
Yes. I love it. Oh, that is great. That is great.
All right, that's awesome. Chris, man, what do you got? What do you got coming up?
Me? I got 2 episodes coming up in succession. Not one this upcoming Monday and the other one next Monday. The one coming up this Monday is with Matt Gwynn from the Albino Rhino podcast, and the week after is
He's got a great roommate,
Liz Priestley. So
Liz is one of my favorite people in the world, by the way. All right, guys, thank you very much. I got to drop, though.
All right, Jeff.
Bye,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Later.
Bye, Jeff. But
Okay. Jeff's not here, guys. Talk about it.
That guy.
It was a wonderful. They're wonderful episodes, wonderful guests I had on. So stay tuned to where our show is found. I might be streaming on Twitch some more over the next couple of days. I got to get back into Twitch streaming, or at least into that to kind of expand the show's little variety. I blame Sasha.
All right.
Don't blame me.
Sasha,
It's not my fault.
Sasha, you want to? I know you're still on a hiatus, but what's your next big thing you're working on?
I am aiming at least before February to get the whole Predator thing kind of done and out of the way so I can focus on AVP. So back to reviewing films, back to being the scary trans girl we warned you about, and reviewing horror movies, video games, and etc. I'm going to have to do some podcasts. Might have to pester you, Mick, and of course Chris. The usual suspects. Just to have fun and talk and bullshit, and as I like to call it, podcast masturbation, because that's what we do. We just talk about nothing for no reason at all.
That's
right.
right.
And Sasha, I have a care package for you to unbox. You're going to really curse me out over that.
All right, this is getting exciting, but I'm gonna go to Jermell. Jermell, what do you got for us? What's coming up new?
Yes. So next week I will release an episode that I did interviewing a group of 3 ladies who have their own podcast. So we did a whole podcast behind the hood thing, just so they could talk about what they've been doing for the past 2 years, because they do a lot. First of all, they do their 3-person conversation, and they'll have a lot of guests. So like, just what is that experience like? I want to let them be the guests. And I just actually had an interview today. So then when that's ready to come out, this is just like a serial entrepreneur. I'm in the PG County, Maryland area. So she's in the DMV, area, and, just kind of talk about what she has going. I'll plug Lit the Writes, as in writing, WRITE Way podcast. That's actually a podcast I have the honor of editing. So I'm a big proponent of them and what they're doing. So they speak on literature and arts and entertainment. So it's fun to let them do what they do and edit those. And I know anybody that edits, I'm sure you have fun listening to the replay and like, oh damn, they did say that, didn't they? Or we should probably cut that out, shouldn't we?
I leave it in. It saves time.
Again,
do it with video and audio.
Yeah. Man, no thank you. So definitely again, thank you. Happy to be on. This was fun with you guys. You guys are
happy to have you, man. Mike, what you got for us on the Show Boys coming up?
What do we got coming up? So tonight, actually, we're recording an episode. Just catching. Now that Jeff's gone, I can freely talk about catching up on what we're watching without being scolded. We have the second episode of our newscast coming out Wednesday. We just have a lot of fun announcements that we're making on our social medias for some fun stuff that we're about to start doing. So if you don't follow us already, you can find us at Showboys Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we're just got a lot of big plans. Hopefully we can have some fun doing them.
Awesome. And all right, Devin, I'm going to you next, man. What do you got coming up for us Sunday on this beautiful Scene Snobs channel?
So, as usual, me and Mark like to pick our things last minute and then tell you. So, we haven't quite figured that out yet. We're kind of working that together, but we actually have a young up-and-coming little star. It was one of the most nerve-wracking interviews because she's 16, so a 30-year-old and a 28-year-old talking to a 16-year-old is... I felt like any minute some guy was going to walk through the door and be like, yo, you need to come with us. We got a car out front for you.
I was just going to say, it's only weird if Chris
Hansen was waiting for you.
I thought Chris was walking through the door any minute. I was like, oh, jeez.
You guys are so young. All of you are so young. I think it assumed. You said you're 28 years old?
Yeah.
I have 2 kids older than him.
Well, hey, this girl is 16. That's how I felt. I felt like I was you.
You should see my house. I have a 20-year-old daughter. You should see the girls that come in through my door. And it drives me insane. It's not fun. People think it's fun. My friends think it's fun. It's not fun. There's no joy in it.
Why is Dad always in his office? Don't worry about it. Keep the door closed, boy.
I'll say this on the live show. Kids are over-fucking-rated. Overrated. Completely overrated. Play with other people's kids. They're overrated.
But we're always with Nick.
Tonight, play with other people.
We're always with Mick 8 o'clock on Sundays, and you know, we're here. We're happy to be here, even if it pisses some people off. That's what the NWO is all about, right? So
that's right. You know what? You need a hack in your corner. That's the way it works. All right.
If you make them mad, you've done something right.
That's true.
All right.
Jason, I saved the best for last because I got to talk some smack.
Devin, when you interview Amelie, you just need one of these. Like your daughter, who's 13, to sit next to you and do the interview with you.
Oh, we already interviewed her. She was just like, she's like, oh my God, this was so much fun. I can't wait to come back. I'm like, yeah. I will think about that one.
I went to my daughter's room. I said, I have an interview with Amelie, but she's only 16 years old. Will you do it with me so it's less awkward? And she's like, yeah. What's she from? I said, Chicken Girls. She's like, oh my God. So
yeah, I had no idea what the hell that was. I was trying to do research on her, clicked on an Instagram. I was like, FBI is looking at this shit.
Right, didn't make it any better, right? Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah, I felt dirty promoting the social media for that stuff, but no, you could find the Three Geeks podcast on the same day as the Fandom Effect. Again, finally, we're back on the same day. I'm super excited about that. We're live every Sunday at noon. We talk about more than just geek stuff, so tune in. And this week, especially, it's Team Matt Talk, which if you don't know what Matt Talk is, it is the world's only Matlock podcast going up against the Scene Snobs. And I hope Casey's lifting some weights because he's got a teammate that he has to carry through this if they want a shot at losing with some dignity.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely not happening. But before we get to that, I want to say Matt Talk is premiering on the Scene Snobs again this Saturday at 12 noon. But yeah, as of your show on Sunday, you're going down. I've got this planned out. You're screwed. But I want to say thanks to everybody for joining in tonight. You guys are all awesome. Hopefully we can stay connected and kind of, again, collaborate, help each other out going forward. So
this is letting me try test out my new equipment as a webcam. So
hey man, absolutely. Well, I just want to say everything. Oh, okay. I thought you were putting up another Jeff Dwoskin thing.
We got one more thing to say, Mick. The reason I podcast is for moments like this. It was a pleasure meeting all of you guys because really, the reason I podcast is to make more friends that like the same stuff I do. Because fanboys got to stick together.
Yeah, no problem.
Absolutely.
If anything, I'd be happy to have you on too one day just to talk about random stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Now check out in the descriptions below for this video. We're going to make sure that I have everybody's information up there so you can check out all their shows. This is the Podchatters, the first episode. Hopefully we can get this together again someday. But yeah, until next time, take care, everybody.
Jeff Dwoskin, only fans.
Right.
Oh, no.
And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting along and everything else. Go check out this show or any of our other shows on thescenesnobs.com. Thescenesnobs.com. We love you. You guys are awesome. And if you would like, follow and subscribe to our social media. That really helps us go a long way. And please spread the word. Tell your friends. Have them come in. We love feedback and everything else. So everybody, you have a great day. Again, thanks for listening. Thescenesnobs.com. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.